Joan of Arc, the fearless teenager who changed history. Introduction. Joan of Arc, also known as La Pucelle d'Orléans, the Maid of Orleans, was a young peasant girl from a small village in France who forever altered the course of history. Born around 1412 during the tumultuous period of the 100 Years' War, Joan's story is one of courage, faith, and tragedy. Her meteoric rise from a humble background to a French national hero and her tragic death at the hands of the English make her one of the most fascinating figures in world history. Early life. Joan was born in Domremy, a small village in northeastern France. Her family was devoutly Catholic, and Joan herself was deeply religious from a young age. Although she had no formal education and couldn't read or write, she was well versed in the teachings of the Church, which played a significant role in shaping her strong sense of faith. At the time of Joan's birth, France was embroiled in the 100 Years' War with England. Much of northern France was under English control, and the legitimate heir to the French throne, Charles VII, had not yet been crowned. The situation in France was desperate, and it seemed that English domination was inevitable. Joan's visions. At the age of 13, Joan began experiencing visions of saints and angels, which she later identified as Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. These figures, she claimed, gave her a divine mission to support Charles VII and drive the English from French soil. According to Joan, these voices instructed her to help Charles reclaim his rightful place as the King of France. Despite her youth and her lack of military training, Joan felt compelled to act on these visions. In 1429, at the age of 17, she convinced a local noble to escort her to meet Charles VII, who was initially skeptical of her claims. However, after a private audience with Charles, in which she apparently revealed a secret known only to him, Joan was given the opportunity to prove herself. The Siege of Orléans. Joan's first major test came during the Siege of Orléans, a pivotal moment in the war between the French and the English. Orléans was one of the last strongholds of French resistance, and its fall would have been disastrous for Charles VII's cause. Joan, donning armor and carrying a banner emblazoned with religious symbols, led French forces into battle. Her presence on the battlefield was nothing short of inspirational. She fought alongside seasoned soldiers and played a key role in lifting the siege in May 1429. Her courage and faith bolstered the morale of the French troops, and her victory at Orléans marked a turning point in the war. This triumph earned her the nickname, the Maid of Orleans. The Coronation at Reims. After the victory at Orléans, Joan continued to campaign for Charles VII. She believed that it was her divine mission to see him crowned King of France, which could only happen in the city of Reims, the traditional site of French coronations. At the time, Reims was deep in English-controlled territory. Against all odds, Joan led Charles and his army to Reims, where he was crowned King Charles VII on July 17, 1429. Joan stood by his side, fulfilling what she believed to be her sacred duty. This moment was the pinnacle of Joan's career, as it solidified Charles' legitimacy and reignited French hopes for victory. Joan's capture and trial. Despite her successes, Joan's fortunes began to wane after the coronation. In May 1430, while defending the town of Compiègne from a Burgundian assault, Burgundy was allied with England, she was captured and handed over to the English. Her enemies saw an opportunity to undermine Charles VII's legitimacy by discrediting Joan as a heretic and a witch. Joan was put on trial in Rouen, where she faced numerous charges, including heresy, cross-dressing for wearing men's military clothing, and witchcraft. The trial was politically motivated, and the English sought to condemn Joan in the eyes of the Church. Despite her lack of education, Joan displayed remarkable intelligence and conviction during her trial, famously stating that her voices came from God and that she had acted according to divine will. On May 30th, 1431, after months of imprisonment and interrogation, Joan was found guilty and sentenced to death. She was burned at the stake in the market square of Rome. As she died, she is said to have called out the name of Jesus, with her final words reaffirming her faith. Posthumous rehabilitation. Joan's story didn't end with her execution. In 1456, A posthumous retrial was conducted at the behest of Charles VII, who sought to clear Joan's name. The retrial declared her innocent of all charges, and she was later canonized as a saint by the Catholic Church in 1920. Today, Joan of Arc is remembered as a national heroine of France and a symbol of faith, courage, and patriotism. Joan's Legacy. Joan of Arc's legacy is vast and enduring. She became a symbol of resistance against oppression and is celebrated not only in France, but around the world. She has been the subject of countless books, plays, films, and artworks, all of which portray her as a fearless and determined figure who stood up for what she believed in, even in the face of certain death. Joan's story also raises important questions about faith, nationalism, and the role of women in history. She defied the gender norms of her time, taking on a traditionally male role in both military and political arenas. Her life has inspired countless individuals to stand up for their beliefs, no matter the obstacles they face.